This is not music. Mr. Guitar himself, Josh Keech, recently reached 200 subs, which is awesome. Congratulations. Do check out his channel. It's a great music themed channel. He shows a lot of cool CDs, has a lot of videos discussing particular genres of music, particular artists, even particular releases. Most of it is metal and hard rock. He also has a lot of guitar content because he's a guitarist, and he actually recently released a really cool instrumental EP called Warrior in the Clouds. So do check that out, and do check out his channel. Now, to celebrate his achievement, he has launched a contest, and I obviously want to take part in celebrating that achievement because I really like his channel. So this is my entry into that contest. Now, the rules are very simple. Be a subscriber to his channel. Then he's really just interested in hearing about other hobbies and interests besides music. You can bring it back to music if you can show an album or two that relates to one of those hobbies or interests. And then, let him know that you've made an entry. You can make a video if you want to, like this one. Or you can just type a response to the video where he announces his contest. So this is my entry into his contest. Now, the first thing I want to mention is an interest, but it's not a hobby, and that's language. I've always been fascinated with language, how it works. In particular, how does grammar work, but also how do words work, how do the individual sounds of language work, how do different languages work. I'm particularly interested in how language is related to human cognition. So the way we think, our worldview, what we know about the world, and so on and so forth. How does language relate to different ways of viewing the world across different cultures? I'm also very interested in language and its relation to the social world. So yeah, just language is awesome. It's super interesting. And I found it so interesting that I ended up with a PhD in linguistics, the scientific study of language. And I now work as an associate professor, believe it or not, of English linguistics and cognitive linguistics. So my field is cognitive linguistics and English grammar. That's what I research. That's what I teach. And I'm also very interested in something called corpus linguistics, which is a particular methodology of researching or studying how people actually use language. So a very, very, very important interest to me, but not really a hobby. So the first hobby I want to mention is health and fitness. And that's something I got interested in as I sort of, grew older, and I realized I should probably take care of my health, make sure that I'm in the best place possible to face old age when that comes. So I'm very interested in health and fitness. I do a lot of lifting, and I also do MRT, that's metabolic resistance training. That's also kind of lifting, but with lighter weights and more cardio oriented. So I do kind of like both, like more heavy lifting and also lighter cardio related lifting. I enjoy walking. That's a very, very good form of exercise. So I like doing long walks. I bicycle a lot to work. That's a good 15 kilometers to work and from work. And I also do other types of workouts. I have to obviously schedule my workouts around my work schedule, so it's kind of like different, the things I do currently. I'm doing a push-pull legs routine, so that is really nice. I really enjoy working out, especially I enjoy having worked out. So health, fitness, very important hobby to me as well. Another, I guess it is a kind of a hobby. It's kind of a weird one, maybe kind of a hipster one. I don't know, but I'm really interested in teas. I guess I'm a tea head as well. And I'm talking teas from the tea plant. So I really enjoy, exploring different types of tea and drinking different types of tea from, different traditions and different countries. So I really enjoy, drinking, Chinese white teas. Which are not that common. They're getting a bit more common, but you don't see a lot of those. I really like green teas, like both Chinese green teas like Dragonwell and Japanese green teas like matcha and sencha and bancha and so on and so forth. Kukicha is really nice. That's green tea made from the stems rather than the leaves. Oolong tea, very interesting type of tea as well. Black teas, I guess the types of tea that most people are familiar with in the West. So I like a lot of the Indian tea-based ones, like your English breakfast, Irish breakfast, and Earl Greys, and all those different types of teas and breakfast teas. But there are also some really interesting single leaf Indian teas, because breakfast teas, they're like blends, but you got some really interesting single leaf ones as well. And you also have some really nice Chinese black teas, and very, very rare but really nice Japanese black teas, like black Benifuki tea, which has a nice delicate taste. Also, and I don't know a lot of people that know about this kind of tea, but post-fermented teas or dark teas, where the tea leaf has been fermented. So the most well-known one is pu'er, which is a nice type of Chinese post-fermented tea, but you also have some very interesting Japanese post-fermented teas that have really interesting tastes. And it's so fascinating that you could get so many different tastes out of the same one plant. And I haven't even mentioned all the really interesting herbal teas out there as well. So that's one kind of weird interest of mine, but I really like drinking different types of tea. I don't really do gong fu brewing or Japanese style tea ceremonies. I don't have any problems with that. I just like drinking tea, you know what I mean? I would like to try those, gong fu brewing and, tea ceremonies at some point. But yeah, strange, but to me, nice thing to be interested in. On a related note, I guess, another kind of weird hipster kind of thing I'm interested in is doing my own fermented foods. So kind of like segueing from tea into this, I brew my own kombucha. That's a fermented tea where the liquid is fermented. And it's really refreshing, has a bit of an acidic kind of taste to it, and you can flavor it with different berries, and you can brew kombucha on different types of tea from the tea plant. So I enjoy doing that. I also make my own sauerkraut, and I make my own tempeh. That's a kind of fermented soybean. And also I actually enjoy making my own natto beans. That's a Japanese kind of fermented soybean that a lot of people from the West will find kind of disgusting, but it's actually, I really enjoy it actually. So I like, fermenting my own foods. And this also kind of goes back to the health and fitness thing, because eating fermented foods, not too much of it of course, but eating some fermented foods will be, good for your gut health in general. So yeah, some kind of strange hipster kind of hobbies, I know. The last one I want to mention is one that a lot of you already know about, and that is I like watching science fiction TV shows and science fiction movies. So, science fiction TV shows like Star Trek, that's probably my favorite science fiction TV show, but there are others that are really interesting. And of course, sci-fi movies like the Star Wars franchise movies. Some people say it's not science fiction, fantasy. I don't care. Potato, potato. I like watching it. And of course, you know, other sci-fi movies, which might be a bit more cheesy. And also, you know, sci-fi movies that are also legendary, but don't have to, you know, you don't have to go into space. You can do time travel as well. So I like watching sci-fi movies and sci-fi TV shows. And of course, kind of related, I like, you know, classic adventure movies like The Goonies. And I have a bit of a weakness for cheesy 80s B movies like Bloodsport and other types of movies like that. So I don't really collect a lot of things related to sci-fi movies. I have some things. I don't collect Funko Pops, for example, but I do have a Sharknado Funko Pop, for example. I don't really collect Lego, but I do have a couple of Lego kits because that's another thing I enjoy doing when I need to turn off my brain without turning it off completely, building a Lego kit or something. But I don't really collect a whole lot of other things besides physical music media. I used to collect DVDs, but I kind of stopped doing that. And then I just enjoy watching the ones I have. But yeah, there you go. Some hobbies and interests of mine besides music. And note how I managed to actually show a couple of records. Anyways, now go and check out Josh Keech's channel. It's great. And if you want to make an entry into his contest. Thanks for watching.